Chapter 15 Save the Nest. Nature seems cruel sometimes. Every morning we walked the beach in search of turtle tracks, but our beginner's luck seemed to be over because we didn't find any more. But at least we were talking to each other again. It was impossible to carry a grudge after we found a turtle nest. Macon stopped glaring at us and joined in the conversations. I figured that was his way of saying he forgiving us, and it was enough for me. Honey was looking better too now that she was walking outdoors every day and my drawing was improving. All in all, summer was picking up on the Dewey's Island. Honey pointed out the wildflowers that grew on the dunes. We wrote the names and sketched them in our notebooks. She also told us the names of the different shells we found, and any ocean life that had washed ashore. Lovey was right. My grandmother knew a lot about nature. My notebook was filling up with names like sea stars, sea urchins, primrose, and crabs. We even found a baby shark swimming in the tide pool. One day Macon found a sand dollar. Hey, this one's all green. Turn it over, Honey instructed him as she walked closer. What do you see? He did so and made a face. There's all these tiny wiggly legs. That's right, Honey said, laughing lightly at Macon's expression. Come closer and look. That sand dollar is alive. Macon looked like he was going to drop it. Honey gently put her hand over his. Toss it back into the ocean, Macon, and give that creature a second chance at life. Never keep the living sand dollars or sea stars children. Carry them home to the sea. We were just getting into the routine of dawn patrol when disaster struck. On our way to checking her turtle nest, Levy stopped short with a gasp. We could see that the orange tape was torn from the stakes and flapping in the wind. I looked at Macon and we both grimaced. Not a good sign. Oh no, Levy shrieked and took off running. Macon and I run after her. The sand over the nest had a gaping hole right in the middle. Broken eggshells lay scattered around. Some of the shells oozed yolk. Macon pointed to the sand. Look, animal tracks. Looks like a dog or probably a coyote. Levy stood shoulders slumped with tears rolling down her cheeks. Honey caught up to us and sighed. When she saw the carnage, she wrapped an arm around Lovey. Now this is a terrible sight, isn't it? Nature seems cruel sometimes. She dropped her arm, but now you have to dry your tears. We've got work to do. Our job is to report what we find to the team. Then we'll see what we can save. Can we save some of them? Lovey asked, hope ringing in her voice. We can try, Honey said. Honey pulled out her cell phone to call Judy and the team. They talked a few minutes, and when she was done, Honey handed Lovey the phone. Lovey, take some photos of the nest and be sure to get a few of the animal prints. Honey bent to study them. Yep, sure looks like coyote tracks. Good eyes, Macon. Macon grinned, pleased with the compliment. Could you run to the car and fetch the red bucket? She asked him. Yes, ma'am. He took off like the wind. Jake, you got your journal? I nodded and took my backpack off to retrieve it. Write that, what I tell you to write. We watched in silence as Honey pulled plastic gloves out of her tote bag and slipped them over her hands. She got down on one of her knees by the nest and began scooping the damaged eggs out and laying them in piles of 10 on the sand. Levy finished taking the photos and stood beside me. She held tight to her silver turtle charm that was dangling from her neck, a sure sign she was nervous. Honey's voice grew breathless as she worked at clearing out the ravaged eggs. Coyotes don't typically eat all the eggs in the nest. A raccoon, on the other hand, will gobble them up. She took a deep breath of the fresh air. My, it's a bit pungent down here, she said before once more bending far into the nest. Her arm was clearly shoulder deep. Honey's face lit up with triumph as she gingerly pulled out a perfectly round white egg. Good news, she exclaimed. It looks like there are still a lot of eggs left. Lovey clapped her hands and cheered in excitement. Macon came racing back with the red bucket and handed it to Honey. He bent over with his hands on his knees, winded up. What's up? There are eggs to save, Lovey told him, her eyes bright. Honey put sand in the bottom of the bucket, then turned to me. Jake, you will mark the number of eggs I call out. Ready? Ready. One, she began placing one egg into the bucket. One after another, she carefully placed eggs in the bucket, calling out the number for me to record. Or at last, she put the final egg into the bucket. 82, she called out, straightening up. Honey put her hand to the small of her back and smiled, satisfied at the count. Feel better, Lovey? Yes, much. Thanks, Honey, Lovey replied, beaming down at the bucket full of eggs. Don't thank me. It's never good to have to move the eggs after they've settled. But we have no choice. Let's gather up the nest stakes and the sign. Will you? I'll bury the ruined eggshells in the old nest. Don't want to send to attract ants, and worse, then we'll move the good eggs to another spot a ways away from here. The team is already digging a new nest. Honey carried the bucket to the golf cart, walking slowly. Macon, you sit in the front with me. You're the biggest, and I want wager to the strongest. I wager the strongest. You get the honor of carrying the eggs. Just please, don't let them jiggle. I won't. I could tell Macon was proud as he carefully held on to the red bucket. I knew there was no way he'd let those eggs jiggle. Lovey, however, pouted as we hopped onto the back seat of the car. I could tell she wanted to carry her eggs. Ready, Honey called, and she slowly drove off. Not at all. Not at all. Speedy, she was being extra careful not to bounce. We didn't go far. Honey turned off on another beach path. Judy and Alicia from the turtle team were waiting for us on the dunes. Macon carried the red bucket of eggs as gently as if they were made of glass. When we reached the nest, Alicia took hold of the bucket, thanking him.